What up? What up? Hey, everybody. It's Justin Zimmerman, the place for prospecting. We're ready to do a live edition of Live Prospecting with my main man here, Deric Lipski. He's going to be going into how he masters and handles expireds at a level you've never heard or seen before. He's been with REDX for over a dozen years. He's got fantastic scripts. He's got an attitude that's going to rock your world, and he's got a great story and methodology that's going to help you see better ways to overcome your fears, get on the phone, make money, and of course, jump into his favorite lead type, expired prospecting. So, hey, what's up? How you doing? What's
Good
going on?
morning, Justin. How are you, my friend?
Doing pretty good. We got a little start to the day early. We're about a couple hours behind you. I'm drinking a little Monster, not sponsored by, but I know you're going to bust out the Red Bull.
I got my Red Bull, of course. This is what we do in New England.
It's a little cheers. Greg McDaniels does beers and calls. I guess we're going to do energy drinks and calls.
Energy calls in the morning, correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to stack well with my pre-workout I just took. Be bouncing off the screen.
What's in your pre-workout mix?
So I do. I was doing this old one, but then, as you probably heard, they used to have something called Jack 3D, but then it got banned because it had a chemical they didn't want. Well, guess what? They somehow recreated that chemical and it changed one molecule. They put it back in there. So I don't know how long it's going to stay on the shelves, but it's on the shelves now, and I take that in the morning. And about 5 o'clock in the morning, I take it. 5 o'clock my time. Yeah, in the morning. When I go to the gym.
We've learned every top prospector, they wake up early, they get shit done, and they usually go to the gym and have some sort of physical routine in the morning that gets them pumped. I found this little one here. I don't know if it's backwards, but it's by this company called eBoost, and it's got some good stuff in it too that I've been taking, and it really gets my morning going as well. And so part of today's show, first part, we're going to go into a little bit about you, a little bit about your methodology, the success you've had recently, getting people into the mindset. So if they want to dial along with us as well, whether they're watching this live or they're going to watch this as a mental boost when they go do it on their own. I love how we're bringing the energy right now. And so that's part of the first part of this here. And so let's get into just a little bit about you, how you started, where you started, and why expireds.
So I started back in 2000. I got in the game as the first 2 years. I worked at a company where you had uptime, and I honestly, for the first 2 years, I just did buyers, and I did a shit ton of buyers. I mean, like 35 to 40 sales a year, driving people in your car, which was brutal. When I came to Keller Williams, the guy who owned this, his name is Barry Papagno, real good guy. He started running training classes before they were running training classes, and he got me into the expireds. Going to the door, knock on it, not really calling, because again, then wasn't really anybody like REDX around to find the number, so we had to go door knocking at that time, and come up with your own lines like, oh, why didn't this one sell? Or I used to say stuff like, let's say it's a 4-bedroom house, and I'd say, is this really a 4-bedroom house? I'm like, oh yeah, come on in, take a look, I'll show you. So you try to say those kind of lines to get you in the door to start talking to them, and the problem was it was taking a lot of my time, hard to catch people at home. Trying to figure out first thing in the morning or after work when they would be home to try to call, but I'd be getting home at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I didn't like it. And then someone from my office was involved with Mike Ferry, introduced me to Mike Ferry. I got involved with calling. I started doing some training. And I go to Tony Robbins, Floyd Wickman, Tom Ferry. I bounced around to a bunch of different trainers. And then through trial and error, having my ass kicked myself, I came up with kind of my own formula of how to get it done. And that's what I do now. And I tell people all the time, those guys are all great trainers, but you got to figure out your own voice, because it's like the Army. Like, when the Army goes into combat in the desert, they wear tan. When they go in the jungle, they wear green. And when they go into the snow area, they wear white. So a lot of what these trainers tell you work in their area, but you got to figure out your own camouflage for your area.
And when you go prospecting, you wear pink or red.
Sometimes say, baby, this is it. Yeah, the love's coming through. The love bug.
I can feel it. So tell me, how important is the training? I know the answer to this, but I want to hear it in your own words. I think a lot of agents, they hear about the success people have with prospecting. They hear about the success people have with expired specifically. They jump into it, and a lot of times they're not prepared. And I think to help agents who are listening or watching this to keep on going, how important is the training? How important is the mindset? What percentage of the success that you've seen has come from that?
Okay, so that's a good question. No one I mean, there is talent, right? There is natural talent out there for sure. People that are quick to the edge, but no one is born with a phone in their hand and go, hey, your home expired. So you have to learn certain scripts and dialogues and how to do that, those kind of calls. That comes with training only. That comes with, and not just training, it comes with trial and error. Like there's a big part of that. I train people all the time. People know me from my videos. If you guys don't know me, just type in cold call into YouTube and you'll see a ton of my videos pop up on the first page. But people started coming to me saying, train me to do this. So I started opening a training company 5-6 years ago to help agents get to this level. And I tell them all the time, look, you're going to start this business. You're going to make phone calls and you're not going to get anything. Then you're going to get phone calls and you're going to get appointments, but then they're going to cancel on you. Then you're going to get phone calls. You're going to get appointments. You're going to go on them. They're not going to list with you. Then you get phone calls. You're going to get an appointment. They're going to list with you and you're going to sell it. So it's a progression. Can you step up to the first day and hit one out of the park? Absolutely. That absolutely can happen. But more likely than not, the training is going to slowly guide you up there and it's going to build up your confidence levels as you learn what to say when someone says this and what to say when someone says that, how to not make someone wrong even though they sound like an idiot, just to kind of agree with them and keep the conversation moving forward to a close.
And we're going to do a demo of those scripts in a couple of minutes before we jump actually into the live prospecting. And so, you know, you talked about at this level, and I'm privy to know where you're at, your numbers. And so for everybody else who doesn't know that or wants to know that, just give us a quick sample of some recent success you've had. How many listings have you taken? How many have come from expireds?
This week, I've taken 5 listings already. 4 of those are expired, and I'm going on 2 more tomorrow on Saturday, and both those expired. So if I take those 2, that'd be 7 for the week. That is not, just so you guys know, that is not a common week. It doesn't, you don't take a listing every day. I don't care how good you are. It just doesn't happen. But you should be taking somewhere between 2 and 4 listings a month from this process.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so where does that put you as far as total transactions for the year?
Roughly somewhere around 50. I mean, it's just me. I don't have a huge team. I don't do it. From cradle to grave, I do pretty much all of it. I have some admin here and there, but that's it.
Yeah, no, 50 is a huge number. I mean, for a single agent to handle without a whole bunch of stuff, I mean, that's reaching kind of like the max from what I've heard and seen.
Well, also with the, I'm also a father of 4 and they're active. So I have to, I get pulled in 1,000 different directions. So that makes it more challenging,
Yeah, the script we talk about here, like you said, can vary from agent to agent. Make it your own. What was it saying? It was memorize, internalize, and personalize. I heard that as the process for it. And so before we get going, I know a lot of agents, when they come and watch these, they always ask, well, can you tell me the script? What does it look like? What does it sound like? And so you want to do kind of a quick just rundown of what the script's going to sound like before we get going?
Yeah, and just so you guys, like, I always have my scripts available. So, like, I have my for sale by owner always in front of me. Whether I use it or not, it's there. I have it. So some people don't like. They're like, oh, I just memorized it. I don't need it. And I always keep it there because you just never know when you could use it. But you want to hear what a rundown of it is?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, I'm looking for Tony.
This is him.
Tony, good morning. This is Deric Lipski from Keller Williams Real Estate. Have you heard of us?
Sure, I have. Yeah. Great.
I was calling you because I was searching the MLS today and I saw that your home had popped off the market. Did you sell that, or is that still for sale?
No, didn't sell that.
Ouch. Oh, okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, hey, let me ask you, did you guys have any offers on the property at all?
We had a couple. They were close, but they weren't exactly what we were looking for.
Right. So you guys did have a couple offers. They just weren't exactly what you wanted.
Yep, that's true.
Well, that makes sense. Okay. Now, where are you guys going when this one sells?
Well, my wife wants to move down to Florida. Massachusetts is a little cold in the winter, and just, her kids are down there, and we'd love to spend more time at the beach.
Gotcha. So you guys want to get down to Florida from here, spend a little time at the beach, and just be away from obviously shoveling the snow.
Yeah, I want to get that shovel gone.
Well, let me ask, is the only thing stopping you guys from getting to Florida and enjoying the good life in the snow and the beach, the sale of this house?
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, the last agent, was supposed to sell it, said a lot of things, and didn't really get the offers that we were looking for.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. So I'm looking at your house now. I can see you guys have modern colors. You have a lot of updated things that I see in the houses that what buyers are looking for. when you guys were on the market, how do you feel the marketing was handled? Do you think it was done right for you?
I don't really know, honestly. They showed up and I never really knew what was going on behind the scenes.
Ouch. So it sounds like you guys didn't really have a lot of communication either.
There wasn't a lot of visibility into what they were actually doing.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'm sure the next time you list with the property on the market, whether it's me or somebody else, you want somebody who can actually get the job done, market it correctly, get you the amount you're looking for, and sounds like you want to have someone to stay in communication with you. Is that right?
Yeah, that would be nice.
All right. Well, let's do this. I don't mind doing this because it's kind of my job. Why don't I come out there for 25 minutes tomorrow? I can be there at 5 or Saturday at 6. Take a look at the property, give you an idea of A, what I think the home is worth, B, why I think the home might not have sold, and C, if I have any buyers. I'm going to tell you right then and there if I have someone for it. And that process takes about 15 to 25 minutes. So would 5 work or is 6 better for you?
5 today is better.
Let's do 5. Boom.
All right. So yeah, obviously I just kind of went with the flow on that and just to kind of hear the whole thing before we actually get into the real deal. Some I guess technical questions because everybody kind of wants to know what everybody does. When you actually book the appointment, do you send them a calendar invite? What notes do you write down and take? And kind of when you get that appointment, what are some of the next little steps you do to capture everything, get everything ready and prepared?
So 2 things, depending on the call goes. Either A, I'll ask them if I can call them back and do a pre-qual, or B, if I feel comfortable, I do it right then and there while I'm on the phone. So I don't, if I'm going to do the pre-qual, I would have said, let me ask you a few more questions. Let me get into exactly a couple questions I have when I'm doing this research, and then I'll ask them questions about how much they owe, have they thought about selling themselves, are they going to interview other agents? I'll get some of those main questions and what they think it's worth. Those are my 4 big ones. I ask a couple more, but those are the 4 big ones I have to cover before I'll go out there. If they don't answer those, at least I know up front they're not going to answer those, and where I'm going to have problems. As when I do this myself, I'm trying to listen to these people as much as they are interviewing me. I'm going to be interviewing them. I've done this for 20 years, and I know when I'm dealing with an asshole and I'm not dealing with an asshole. So I don't want to deal with someone I don't want to work with, and I can tell pretty much right away by the questions and how they answer my questions how they're going to be. So that's kind of stuff I do. Once I get through that part of it, I make sure to capture their email in text, and I'll text them and I'll email them just so they have my information in case they need to change for some reason, or we got to confirm. And that's pretty much about it. And again, and if I didn't ask for pre-quals at that point, when I confirm for the appointment before I go out there, I'll then ask them those questions.
That's great information. Just one more question before we get going. I think it's important to stress to agents who feel like prospecting is just this never-ending grind, and that's the only source, the only way it can be your go. And for agents who think that way, I want to offer them hope and a vision of the future where we're talking about expireds right now. We're calling expireds right now. But you mentioned to me before we got started that a large percentage of your business, repeat business from expireds. And so could you just share a couple of seconds there to kind of paint a picture of how much repeat referral sphere of influence business comes now from your past expired prospecting?
So I would say about 50% of the people that I sold that were expired listings, out of the 100% of people I sold for expired listings, about 50% of them will repeat with me if they have to sell again. And the other 50% that doesn't is broken down into a couple of different categories. Like, again, some people sell because someone died, so that person's gone. And, that person may list with me later on or not. If they moved out of state, if it's divorce. So a lot of those times, those people are gone, so I couldn't get those anyways. And then the other people, sometimes are just bricks. I mean, let's face it, there's a reason why homes expired. It's not always the agent's fault. I mean, don't get me wrong. 9 out of 10 times, the agent just took the listing at the price they shouldn't have taken it at, and the home expired. But sometimes that seller can be so demanding on that agent that they try to run the show and micromanage them. And I don't go for that. And that's when I'm doing these phone calls and I hear anything even like that reminds me of that, I almost not instantly, but I will sort of end the conversation sooner than later. Just because I go, I don't want to work with this person. I'm going to keep looking for somebody else because I don't want to. Look, I don't want to. These kind of people that can give you cancer, dude. I don't want to deal with that. I've done this for 20 years. I've dealt with assholes. I've dealt with nice people. I can already sense when I'm not going to get along with somebody right away. And if I hear that, I just kind of discontinue or bow out of the conversation politely and say, okay, well, I'll look for it to come back on. If I have anybody, I'll call your agent, help you try to show it and sell it, and just bow out of it. As far as the people that do repeat with me, most of them like not only repeat with me, but they refer me to other people as well because they go, you know, I was on the market for 8 years, or I was on the market for 8 months or 9 months, whatever it was, and Deric came along and had it sold in less than a week or 2 weeks. So I just closed 3 of them that were that the end of the last month. All 3 of those were expired listings. They sat on the market. I relisted them, had them all sold within 2 weeks, and 2 of them went over asking. So when you got people here watching this going, I don't know if expired really works. It does work. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's fun to do it. It's not fun and exciting, but it's immediate now business. So if you're new or you just need to get a jump start on your business and you need to figure out a way that the phone isn't ringing for you, you have to make the phone ring. You got to go out there and go after it. And part of it is training. And the training that we do for expired listings helps you throughout your entire career, whether it's me, Tony Robbins, Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry. What you learn in expired training isn't just about expired training. You can translate that into a listing presentation, to a for sale by owner, to anything else that you need in this thing. You can even close a significant other. Like anyone times I've closed my significant other with lines I've used from sales. You know, I remember the first time, well, I should say it's kind of weird. My ex-wife, before we got divorced, but when she first came, when we first started dating, she said, I want to, you know, let's move in together. And the day she was going to move in, she decided not to. And I go, what happened? And she goes, I don't know. And I go, well, what is it exactly? And she goes, well, it's A, B, and C. And I go, all right, other than A, B, and C, is there any other reason you wouldn't want to move in here? No. I go, all right, let's handle these A, B, and C and take them down. And through logically steps, I was able to convince her to move in with me. Maybe that was a wrong mistake if I'm not looking at it. But I closed her on it. So use this close on anybody.
Yeah. Promise. Last question before we get going. Part of your pre-qualification process. To work with a customer, do they have to be a Patriots fan?
They do not have to be a Patriots fan. No, they don't have. I'm a Patriots fan. They don't have to be a Patriots fan.
Right. Well, I'm ready when you are. Let's fire it up. Let's show everybody the master of expireds.
All right. So let's get dialing, huh? Yeah. All right. I'm good on my dial screen. So obviously, you guys know I use REDX. I've used REDX for 95% of my entire career. For me, I find they give me the best numbers. There's other sources, obviously, but this one is the best one that I've seen and used. And the customer support over there, and this isn't a pump for them. This is just being honest, because people always ask me, what system do you use? And obviously, if they're on the REDX feed, that they know we use REDX. But customer support, whenever I have a problem, and they're right on top of it. Those guys are really good down there, and they know me by now too, by name. So they're like, "Oh, it's Lipski." All right. So they get right on it, and they usually fix any problem. And 9 out of 10 times, it's usually something I've done wrong. You know, they got to clear your cookies or something like that happens. All right. So let's go here.
Welcome to Storm. Press 1 to continue.
All right. Let's see if we can change some lives today, huh?
Do it.
Let's do it. Now, people in New England are a bit different than maybe people in Utah when you hear them talk. So you might hear a couple go fuck yourselves in here, but you can mute that out later.
I think the more the merrier.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, I'm calling about the property on East Street. Is this the owner?
East Street where?
Yeah, was that your house? It looks like it came off the market.
No, that wasn't my house. That was actually my ex-girlfriend. I think it was, so it was my ex-girlfriend's mother's house. My name was actually on it, maybe because I, at the time I was, it's a whole long story, but no, I'm not the owner. I'm not the owner of that house.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. All right. So, yeah.
East Street, huh?
The old East Street.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice.
So sometimes, you know, so that's a good question that came up, because the reason I didn't say his name, because it didn't say his name, was under LLC. So you hear that sometimes. So you can't say, hi, is LLC home? So you just say the owner of the street. It might be easier. You know what I mean?
Good tip.
Yeah. Just to keep the conversation moving forward.
Yeah. I really like how you start the conversation with just like this positivity.
Try to match them, even if they're grumpy. You try to like, hey. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But honestly, I do that. If anyone hears on my Facebook page or watches any of my videos, I always try to be very positive up front. I'm always like, hey, it's your boy Deric. You know, that's pretty much how I start every sole video. Hey, is Benjamin there?
This is Ben.
Hey, Ben, Deric Williams giving you a quick call about your house on Lane. I saw that it popped off the market. Did you sell that, or is that still for sale?
Still for sale.
Yeah, it looks like it was only on for a few days. Are you guys taking a break with that, or what's happening with the property?
We're not really sure yet. Working with a realtor. If you want to contact him, I'm sure he'll share you.
Is he still the listing agent on the property?
Yep.
All right, I'll give him a call. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
So these are one of the weird ones where it's only off for 11 days, and for some reason it wasn't withdrawn; it was canceled. But I find sometimes for me, trying to throw your competition on the bus isn't the most helpful thing. You know.
Yeah, what goes around comes around.
Yeah, I don't try to. I used when I first started, I was very much like that, and I learned, and it did get me. And sometimes it did work, but it also I think makes you look like a jerk too sometimes. You know. But there is that 1% of people who will respond to them like, yeah, he is an idiot. You know what I mean? They're like, come over here.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voicemail.
Yeah.
So we're getting some questions coming in right now. So as we wait,
Go ahead.
Leave a message.
Go ahead.
we got a question from TJ George asking, do you pre-qual your sellers before the appointment?
Yes.
Do you send a pre-listing package?
I don't send a pre-listing package. I was trained to do that by Mike Ferry, and it never worked. You know, I if anything, they would cancel the appointment. And you know, going through the coaching over there, you know, they say that's going to bring the objection out. But at the end of the day, I mean, every area is different. So if you're in like LA and California, if everyone's doing it, it might be something to do. No one does it out here. And I tried doing it. I just never got anywhere with it. So I find myself personally going out there. I'll call ahead and ask the questions I need to ask. But I'm not going to go over pricing or send them pricing until I get there. And part of the question when I ask them, what do you think your home would sell for realistically in today's market, is that same reasoning why I asked that. So instead of sending them comps and them going, wait a minute, these comps are for 500 and we're at 700, you know, there's a big gap. So I'll ask them that on the phone. I'll say, hey, you know, I'm doing, and I may pre-qual them twice because I may not have realized when I'm doing this originally that they were so far apart from reality to fantasy land. So I'll look at that and go, okay, this house is on for 700, but it's, you know, it's more like 550, so it's a big gap. So I'll recall that person back and say, hey, you know, I'm just curious. I'm going through some of these comps. I'm just wondering, you know, when you guys were on the market last time, how did you come up with that 700,000 or 750 point? Where did that come from? And, you know, why is that important to you? What was, I mean, obviously everyone wants as much money as possible. I understand that. But how did you guys come up with that? And, you know, is it realistic in today's market? And I'll ask these kind of questions because if they tell me something like, absolutely, I'm not taking a nickel less on that, then either A, I won't go on it, or B, I'll hit them with, well, all your neighbors are selling for this. So explain to me exactly why you're worth 150,000 more than your neighbor. And, you know, they may have an answer for you, but 9 out of 10 times they absolutely don't.
They just want it.
They just, yeah, I want it too. I get it. Nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong, baby. If I get people in my house, I'd sell tomorrow.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I get it too. I don't try to make them wrong. I go, listen, I love it. I understand. I'm the same thing. There's nothing wrong with it, but let's. Hello. Hey, is Jeff there? Jeff, it's Deric Williams giving you a quick call about your home on Old Post. I saw that it came off the market the other day. Did you sell that, or is that still for sale?
Sorry.
I was calling. I saw your house on Old Post Road come off the market the other day. Did you sell that, or is that still for sale?
My house is never for sale. You have the wrong person.
Oh, this isn't Jeff Arrington?
It is Jeff Barrington, but I do not have any house to sell.
Do you own a house on Old Post Road in Walpole by any chance, or did you?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do you want to sell anything or buy anything?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, Jeff. Happy Valentine's Day, buddy.
This is how you make it fun.
Well, yeah, you got to have fun. I laugh at people all the time. You know, it's like when people are being jerks, you can kind of, when you do this enough, you can kind of tell them off in a nice way. Like, hey, you keep on having a good day over there. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, is Christopher there?
Who's this?
This is Deric. Who's this? This is Mrs. Fusco? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me? Mrs. Fusco.
Hello.
Hey, I was calling you about your house on Becca Lane. I saw that it came off the market. Did you sell that, or is that still for sale?
Who's this?
I'm a local agent. Is this Mrs. Fusco? Ooh, Mrs. Fusco.
Hello?
Hey, is Mrs. Fusco there?
Mrs. Who you at? Fusco?
Yeah, Fusco. Is that you?
No, I think you have the wrong number.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Now, was it Mrs. Fusco? Fusco.
How often do you turn wrong numbers into actual appointments?
It's rare. It's rare, but I'd say maybe one every month, maybe 2 months, maybe. It's you try to catch someone at the right time. You know, it's like
the person you were trying
you try to catch someone at the right time. You know, it's funny. There's 100 different ways to try to get business, right? And they say a couple things. You can wait for it, which is like a referral coming to you. You can buy it, which is going to be placing ads and mail outs, or you can earn it, which is like going door to door, it's prospecting. That's what we're talking about doing now. But when you talk about when they buy it, when people send out mail outs, you know, I get those mail outs all the time in the mail, like, you know, for breaks or take $10 off of this or that. And I just throw them away. The only time I use it is when I'm in that mood where I'm like, fuck, I need this right now. I'm getting my breaks done. And I'm like, this makes sense. So I'm going to use it. The same time as like those calls, like, you have to hit that person at the right time at the right day where they're like, yeah. And if you're that guy who calls, even if it's a wrong number, as long as you can sound some kind of, it's not like I tell people all the time, when you make these calls, you don't have to be super good. You just have to call every day. It's just continually doing it. Most of the best appointments I have weren't the hardest to get. You know what I mean? They weren't like, I had a battle, like 20-minute battle back and forth, and I had to use all this dialogue and stuff. It wasn't like that. They were motivated, and they wanted someone to call them who kind of could speak clearly, could be concise and direct them into a direction of getting their home back on the market, and pitch them in the benefit of doing it now versus waiting until later. Like, so if you guys are watching from where you are now, a line you're going to hear is everyone's waiting till springtime. Well, I understand you want to wait till spring, and it sounds like you want to make as much money as possible, and I'm sure you want to take advantage of the seller advantages are out there for you. Do you know what they are? No. Well, they're low rates and low inventory, and that's happening right now. So by waiting until April or May, you're kind of just waiting for your competition to come on. If you guys could sell now versus wait till later, we'll just sell now and take the most you get. Well, yeah. Well, let's set the appointment for me to come out today and just take a look at it and give you guys an idea what I think the price is, what I think the best time for us to come on. And if it's to wait till May, then let's do that. But if not, let's try to take advantage of everything that exists in your favor, you know?
I love it. I love it. Give them reasons to do it now versus procrastinate.
You got to have a bunch of different reasons. So the other day I was on a listing appointment, and you guys will like this too. And the guy was stalling about listing it. He didn't want to list it until March 1. And he goes, I'm not going to sign now. And I'm on this appointment, and I'm trying to close, you know? And so I'm like, what can I do to motivate this guy? Because he thinks every agent's the same. And part of the marketing that I do when I list a house is I do a lot of social media campaigns with it, you know. So I'm not talking about boosting your posts. I just kind of put it places where it needs to go, Instagram, Facebook, and I have enough local people on my page that if it's something sparks up an interest, you might either get an agent to say I want to book an appointment, or get a buyer who wants to buy it. But I told him, said, hey, listen, let's do this. Let's sign the contract and start March 1. And he goes, no, I'm not going to do that. And I said, well, listen, I can leave it today with nothing signed, and we have to wait till March 1 to get started on this. Or if you sign this now, date of March 1, this gives me the ability to go ahead and do a coming soon attraction on your house to start getting some kind of an interest, so that when we hit the ground running, we're going to have 4 or 5 buyers already lined up. And it was that one little push extra that he needed to hear to go, all right, let me just sign it. And I was able to close that. Now, had I not done that, I probably wouldn't have gotten a listing, because when I leave a listing appointment, 90% of the time, if I leave it without the signature, I don't get it. It's just how it is with me.
Yeah, maybe it's usually no.
Yeah, maybe, exactly. Yeah, maybe it's usually no, exactly. So I was able to convince him. And the same thing for these guys. I mean, your whole goal is just to get the appointment. You don't try to close them on price or commission or anything on the phone. Just close for the appointment. Do that when you're there in person, belly to belly. Don't do that on the phone. You're just to sound like a nice guy, and you're trying to get the appointment. But don't also overpromise to get the appointment. Like, I probably have a buyer for you. I'm going to go ahead and, don't do that. Just like, lead them to the steps, ask the right questions, and then set the appointment if you're able to set it.
That's super awesome advice. And it's basic stuff too. You know, it's like anybody can do that.
Yeah, and it's not about people ask me all the time, like all these scripts, you want all these objection handlers. I have a bunch of them. I haven't. Hello,
Yes?
Mrs. Rondlin.
Who's calling?
This is Deric with Keller Williams. I'm calling you about your house on Endicott Street. Is that your home?
I'm not interested, thank you.
Are you interested in selling? Oh, she hung up. Jesus. So just because she says she's not interested doesn't mean you stop asking the questions. You try to throw something out there right away. A lot of times you get that. It's just because she's only 3 days off the market. She's probably getting hit with 100 calls. So, but I'm not going to delete her. I'll try calling her again another day.
How do you mark those dispositions in Vortex?
I don't do anything. I just say no answer and I put them back. So they go back in the rotation tomorrow when I call.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The only problem with that, sometimes I'll get her on another line too. If she has 3 lines, I'll call her cell phone, her home phone, and then her office phone. She's like, leave me alone. I can't answer the phone. I have people get mad at me who say stuff like, you've been calling me for 10 days. I go, well, thank you for answering. I don't have to call you on day 11. I heard your house off the market. Do you want to sell it? You know, so you can, when you do this long enough, you can know how to react to certain people who get like mad and you can get mad with them and try to get them back on page. I've had a ton of guys who have been assholes to me on the phone and then I've closed them for the appointment. And they weren't assholes like prick assholes. They were just like jerks because they were like getting 1,000 calls and I understand it. But because I got mad with them at the time and I was able to logically walk them through the steps of getting an appointment, it worked. Not everybody, but it has worked plenty of times. And like you guys said, I try to have fun with this, man.
This is Sheila. Leave me a message. Thanks.
Sheila sounds sexy. Hey, Sheila.
Hey.
Hey, Sheila.
What are you selling?
Similar businesses. To connect.
No. So this is sometimes too, we get this when you call multifamilies. So I don't know if you guys have multifamilies out there. Do you guys know what those are? Like 3 families?
Yeah, like duplex, quadplex.
Yeah, so sometimes you get those. You'll get because there's obviously one owner and then there's 5 tenants and it's anyone who's at that building. So sometimes you get there'll be like a list of 9 numbers. Those ones are always tough to get through because then even if you call it tenants, they never want to give you the landlord's number.
Do you find this more enjoyable when you've got an audience?
Yeah, I don't. You know what? It's funny. I don't do.
Your call has been forwarded to an
A lot of guys do Google. What is it called? Google Chat Room or what's that room that a lot of guys
They
who
do Google Hangout.
Google Hangout, right? So I get invited to that all the time. I don't do it. I pretty much just do it in here. But my office is open. It's like a bullpen, like a war room. So there's no ceiling and there's desks everywhere. So I pretty much have an audience every day with the people that are sitting to the right or left of me. They can hear me and they laugh because a lot of times I'll adapt my voice to somebody. Someone's like Asian or Italian or Spanish. You know, I'm like, buongiorno, hey, oh, and I'll throw a couple words I know in that language in there and try to make them laugh and move the conversation. And some of the people here are like, you're an idiot. I go, I know, but it works.
But it works.
It works.
Oh, man. You remind me, Chris Voss, that FBI negotiator.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Sure.
I'm listening to some of his masterclass stuff right now and all the little mirroring and kind of the way he does his voice inflection stuff. I hear a lot of what you're doing right now that he does.
Yeah, so you got that book right here.
Oh, yeah, great book. Great book. Go look up
Never
this guy.
Never split the difference.
He's got some good stories to tell, and he has some really basic trainings that I think anybody could use. Like when you repeat what the last 3 words, I've heard you do that on the phone just now, or when we were doing our script practice, you repeated back to me what I said and then kept it going, and it was like,
You have reached the voicemail box.
Well, it's funny, when I do training, we'll do a shout out for that later on. I have a little training program that I do for expired listings. It's like a video program, but it's a series of videos that I pre-record and you just watch them. And it's short money, but one of the videos talks a lot about that is about, and that's something that was drilled in my head from my ferry organization from day one, repeat and affirm. And then, always repeat what they say and then affirm it and then move on. So it's and some of the agents who haven't got that don't have that training yet, but it's not an interrogation. It's a conversation. So if I said to you, let's role play this really quick. Hey, what kind of car do you drive?
Ford Explorer.
What year is it?
2002.
What color is it?
Red.
Say, let's do this. That's how most people ask questions. Now let's do it again. Hey, what kind of car do you drive?
Ford Explorer.
Oh, Ford Explorer. That's nice. What color is it?
Red.
Red. I love red. What year is it?
It's a 2002.
Oh man, 2002, that's a classic, man. You got a good one.
You know,
Now, see, that's a conversation, right? So that's the same method. Like we can do an interrogation, which is just asking questions, or we can kind of repeat and affirm and then move forward so that people feel good about that. Did that second one make you feel a little better?
a lot better.
Hey, I think it might be time to upgrade your car.
Classic.
I think you got 2002, man. That's like 18 years old, man.
I know my girlfriend's like, can we get a new car? Can we get a new car? Can we get a new car? We drive 5 miles a day.
When you say girlfriend, do you really mean guy friend?
I don't think so. No.
Just kidding. I like to. It's up north. We like to break balls all the time. So that's just that means I like you.
Your call has been forwarded to an messaging.
It's Valentine's Day. Hey, you're the one who wants the t-shirt, man.
I know. You should see it. Yeah, I would get pink everywhere. You should see it. I can't show it to you. You can get the camera.
Hey.
Hello. No one is available to take your.
We got another question coming in from Lonnie asking, what does your voicemail sound like if you leave one?
I don't leave voicemails. I never leave voicemails. Well, let me rephrase that. I do leave some voicemails, and I've done something recently called, I'll say the name of the company because you guys don't offer it at REDX, but it's a slide dial broadcast. You guys know what that is?
Yep.
So that's usually for a just listed, just sold, and I'll say, I'll do a slide dial broadcast for a neighborhood, and I'll follow it up with a postcard as well, and then I'll follow up with a REDX, and we'll do the geo leads for that same area. So basically, I'll go into geo leads, so we're all doing the same stuff. I'll get the geo leads from there, I'll export them out, I'll put the numbers into the slide dial. I'll use that same geo leads for the mail out for the addresses, and then I'll have those same geo leads for me to call through. So now we're congruent, and so they're going to get a voicemail on the home just sold the day after it's sold. A week later, they're going to get a mail out, and then a week after that, they're going to get a follow up call saying, "Hey, did you get that mail out I sent you about the property up the street that just sold? I just wanted to inform the neighborhood that this one sold. And by the way, have you guys ever considered selling yourself?" Right? So that's the time I will leave a message, but I typically don't leave messages on voicemails. If I were to, because I've experimented with this before, if I were to leave a voice message, it would probably say something like, "Hey, I saw your house come off the market. Are you guys open for a cash offer? Give me a call back. Here's my number." I wouldn't say I'm an agent. I wouldn't say anything else, because if you say an agent, they're not going to call you. But if you say that, they're going to call you. And then you can decide how you want that conversation to go afterwards. I've done that with some success, and then I got so many calls back with that line. And when you try to flip them to go to a listing, that some of them get turned off and some of them don't. So you can figure out how to handle those people at that point. But that would be the only time I left a message saying that one bold statement. I didn't mention I was a realtor, and I just left my number and said, "Are you guys open for a cash offer?" I mean, who's not going to pick up the phone and call them out?
Right. Hey, thanks, Lonnie, for asking that question. Thank you, Deric, for answering it.
Yep.
Let's see if we can get one more call in, and then maybe we'll wrap up.
Go ahead. Let me see what you got here. See if we can get one more call in. It'd be nice if we can book an appointment on this thing. Have you guys been on with guys who booked appointments live?
Hi, you've reached Heather.
We have, yep.
Calling.
I feel like I'm not hitting my mark yet if we don't get an appointment. A lot of pressure.
Call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
And now, again, I will say from my time, typically I'm already done calling by this time. Usually I start about 9 o'clock and I'm done.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice message.
Usually by now I'm already passive for sale by owners, and I'm on to my database. So I always start with expireds, for sale by owners, follow up, then database. That's generally the way I do it.
And usually start at 9 and go till when?
I usually do 3 hours, so I'll go to 12 or start at hello.
Please leave your message for
8:30 or 12. It all depends on when I drop my daughter off at school. If I have to drop my son off too. So when they get done dropping them off, I head right to the office and I get started no matter what time. So it's either 8:39 and I typically go to 11:30, 12. But usually it's a 3 hour window, and I book that every single morning.
voicemail
So I have that every morning to get in there. So I'm very consistent with it.
Earlier, how many hours a week do you prospect by someone named Yeet Skeet? If that's a real name.
Yeet Skeet. Yeah.
Yeet Skeet.
Yeet Skeet. Skeet. So probably about somewhere between 10 and 15 hours every week. So whether that's and sometimes I'll come in on Saturday and make phone calls too if I missed a day during the week. I'm pretty regimented about doing it, and Curtis, one of the guys over there at REDX, he calls me one of his power, I think he called me one of his power dialers, because I put the system through a lot. I'm really pounding the system every day. We do a lot of calls.
Have reached the
And you know what?
voicemail
You wonder, people wonder, when they see results, how much money you make. They go, oh, well, how does he do that? And you go, look at all these calls that you didn't see me make. You know what I mean? It's nice when people see the videos of me making calls and they hear all these objection handlers and they like to hear that, but they don't hear the 50 calls before that who were telling you to go screw yourself.
Hopefully we get some of those today. That's what I was hoping.
You want to go screw some go screw yourself calls?
I think those are actually really important for agents to see, because it's that's the thing they're afraid of, and to see someone confront it, deal with it, have fun with it, and still keep going. I think that's the motivation. That's the inspiration that I think people are looking for to succeed at the level you're at.
Yeah, you just got to keep calling, man. Every day is not. I love to tell you that my area every day is an appointment. I know some people who do get an appointment every day, but their area is a bigger area. Well, there's more movement. Like in Boston, this area, I'm on the South Shore. We only have roughly about 6,000 single-family homes on the entire state of Massachusetts. Where if you go to something like California and you go to the entire state, you're looking at maybe 30 or 40,000 houses. It's just a smaller pie. There's only about 4,000 transactions a month in the entire state, so you're trying to grab as much as you can out of that. Where I know my buddy's in Detroit, he gets about 4,000 in that city alone. So just a bigger piece of pie to go after. So you really got to sharpen your skills. And then I get people telling me all the time, how come you don't move to Florida or California or all those areas? And maybe that someday I may do that, but as of now, I'm here, court ordered by the kids. I have to stay here and take care of them.
Oh man. Well, why don't we bring things to a wrap and give everybody some ideas on where they can find you? Let's cheers to that right here. Bring up the.
All right.
Thanks for joining us today. We're gonna do this again. Just wanted to grab a little bit of your time, show who you are, what you're about, a little bit more than they already do. Give you some cover, some press, some influence over others. And why don't you just share where people can reach you if they want to learn more, follow you, go through all that. Yeah,
so you guys can obviously see the YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. It's my name, Deric Lipski. You can finally find it. Also on Facebook, Deric Lipski, prospecting with Deric Lipski, and Deric Lipski Real Estate. There's 3 different sites there. If you want to get into the aspect of the training for expired listings, you can go to expiredlistingmastery.com. We'll put a link up, or we'll try to put something to connect with that up there if we can. That site will go on there. I made that because I get calls all the time from people that want me to coach them, but they don't have the money. And man, I have a big heart, man. I feel bad for people because when I started, there was no training at all. I had to pay $1,000 a month for a guy who kind of was okay. And through the years of getting better, I started learning on my own and still kept coaching. But the 12-week program that I created is a series of videos that gives you my scripts, my objection handlers, all my systems. And if you get it, there's a code to a discount on REDX to get REDX. Try it for a month, but also it's only $300. It's cheap. Anyone can get it, and it just gives you the starting parameter of how to get started in this business, how to get calling expired listings. There will be other modules out at some point. We're going to do a listing presentation for sale by owner one, but this is the basic one. This is expireds are today business. A lot of people don't know. You're waiting for the phone to ring. You're trying to tell everyone in the world. You're on Facebook telling everybody you're a realtor. But expireds are really I made the most money out of my entire career, millions of dollars, over expired listings. These are the guys are now business. They want to sell. It's someone who identified themselves saying, I want to sell either my agent sucked or I was a jerk to work with, but I want to sell my house. So you can cherry pick through those. But these are the listings that want to sell. And let me tell you guys something. You're watching this. In the next 69 days, we're going to have the biggest surge of rush out there. So you have to be on the phones dialing. You have to get sharp. You have to be better than the competition because this market is exploding. So you've got to get out there and get after it.
You're the man.
I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that.
I'm not going to. No one to try. All right. So everybody, Deric Lipski, we're going to put some of this information he mentioned, where to find this stuff. If we had a discount to Red Bull, we would share that, but we don't. And so if you Google REDX Live Prospecting or REDX Live Prospecting Deric, DERIC, that'll bring up this page. You'll see all the links that he just mentioned. We're going to put that in there in the next broadcast. I want to thank you for jumping on here with positivity, a fun attitude, showing agents how much fun they can have while also making money. powering through things. Look forward to having you back on the show. I want to thank you. I want to thank Andrew, Haley, the whole REDX support team who shows up for everybody every day, all the engineers, everybody behind the scenes who makes this moment happen, this stuff happen. And so I'm Justin Zimmerman with Prospecting, the place for prospecting. See y'all next time. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.
Yeah.